I think he probably wouldn't get kicked out. But knowing what I know about Hong Kong, where things are scrutinised in a lot more detail, I suspect that he will either get kicked out by his own party, or he might resign. Just because of the pressure, I think, and he might feel guilty that that the Democratic Party is getting negative publicity. But it would be interesting to see how it plays out in the next few days. Maybe I'm wrong, actually.
Or if Kam Nai-wai really got kicked out, then he didn't have to resign, because he can sit as an independent.
In the legislature. That's right. You're right about that. That's right. Yeah.
Perhaps to be kicked out or to resign from the party would be a better choice.
Yeah, maybe actually. Yeah, I mean, what's your hunch how it will play out, or wouldn't you like to say?
I mean, first of all, the whole point is whether Kam Nai-wai lied. I think that's what really Hong Kong people were all thinking about.
And also about the money. There's another $100,000 compensation.
Right.
So it makes the things become more complicated.
Yeah. First of all, the thing is that admitting that Kam Nai-wai told his aide of his feelings for his assistant.
Yes.
I mean, whether this is the same as making advances. Because he denied making any advances and that sort of things. But that is only one point. The other point is that I think why Kam Nai-wai still couldn't answer the question. Why did he fire the assistant?
Exactly, and that's a big question, isn't it? And it's pretty obvious that for whatever reason, his relationship with this lady was not going too well, and as a result, direct result of it, she got the sack. And I would say that's definitely a very strong case of sexual harassment in terms of someone losing their job. Nothing to do with the fact of what. In terms of her job, it's nothing to do with the fact that she might not have been doing her job well. It was purely as a result of her being a woman, and that the relationship between him, obviously it looked like he wanted something going on, or was expressing his feelings towards her, and as a result of her, for whatever reason, not being willing to do it. To progress it any further, she lost her job. And in terms of a civil case, I would say she had a very strong case of being unfairly dismissed.
I mean, after all, because at the end of the press conference, you have Albert Ho mentioning that Kam Nai-wai would like to write recommendation letter for the lady. Implying that she has done really nothing wrong. Otherwise, how would you write in the recommendation letter?
Yeah.
But also, before the firing, that's not really, Kam Nai-wai did not issue any warning or warning letter. And you immediately fire the assistant without any warning letter. It's very, very unusual. I mean,
he's actually come out, and you're right, he's come out in the public saying she did a good job. It was nothing to do with her not doing the job properly, and it makes it look pretty bad, I think, in terms of what actually happened. Because obviously losing your job is pretty unpleasant, and the lady involved must be pretty unhappy. But I think a lot of the media they would like to hear a bit more from the woman involved, actually. You never quite know the full story until you speak to the women involved, and obviously she's a bit reluctant to come out in public and say anything at this stage.
And the weird part is that even though the lady involved remains silent, but now everyone knows her identity as a former ATV anchor lady.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And why so was because you have the Mandy Tam, the former Civic Party legislator.
That's an interesting bit as well, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, in the past, everyone was referring Annette Lu, the former Taiwanese vice president, as BMW, big mouth woman.
Yeah.
And now people apply that label to Mandy Tam because according to the report, the lady involved in the case, Kam Nai-wai's aide, has not authorized Mandy Tam to release any of her details. But because Mandy Tam was her former boss, that's why she sought Mandy Tam's advice. But I think it is really, really terrible that you have someone like Mandy Tam revealing all the details. If the lady would want to remain silent, how would you dare to do this?
Yeah.
My goodness.
Because Mandy Tam is actually she's claiming to take the moral high ground in the sense of she's speaking out for women's rights, you see, isn't she? That's why she's saying it. But do you think that she might have a more political agenda going on?
Oh, there's been speculation, as you know, Ken and Matt, that there's speculation that she might take this opportunity to, as you say, Matt, to gain a moral high ground, then might run in a by-election in Hong Kong Island, perhaps.
That's right.
She denies it today.
So I think it does affect the mass resignation campaign for pan-democratic.
I mean, come on, everyone can sort of smell Mandy Tam's political ambition. I mean, after she lost her seat, she established some sort of political groups to maintain her voice in the media, and also, even though she's not really, she published a book this summer talking about her unhappy episode within the Civic Party. You can see she's quite active, and I wouldn't be surprised if she made such a move, though.
And this whole thing is quite tricky, isn't it, for for Albert Ho and the Democratic Party to know quite how to deal with it, actually. You can imagine they're having quite a lot of discussions behind the scenes, thinking quite how to handle it, actually. And obviously, amongst the Democratic Party, they're probably split, I expect, 50-50 on it. But obviously some of them are thinking, okay, if we kick him out, we're going to lose our seat, aren't we? And we're going to lose power, aren't we? But on the other hand, they're thinking, if this story runs and runs, it doesn't look too good for our party. We're going to lose popularity.
But Matt, sometimes we used to say blessing in disguise. I mean, talking about the mass resignation campaign, Democratic Party is always reluctant to send someone to resign his seat. Kam Nai-wai would be a good one.
But it's been enforced.
Hit a bird with two stones.
That's true.
You can hit a bird with two stones, right?
That's true, yeah.
So we don't have to choose another
Okay,
one.
we've already chosen one. That is Kam Nai-wai for the Hong Kong Island.
chosen by the ladies?
Because you know what, there has been, if you read the China Daily or that sort of pro-mainland newspapers, they have been also quite fierce in terms of attacking Kam Nai-wai and saying he should resign. But I mean, there have been different speculations saying that, don't push him too hard, because what if Democratic Party send Martin Lee back again in the Hong Kong Island and fighting for and making universal suffrage as agenda? Then perhaps you can turn the tide, to make something bad into something quite more positive. But of course, it's quite unusual in the meantime to mention that what is Martin Lee having in his mind, because people were saying that I know, Matt, you are a loyal fan of Apple Daily, and as you know, Martin Lee and Jimmy Lai, the owner of Apple Daily, have a really, really close relationship. It was Martin Lee who helped Jimmy Lai got baptized by Cardinal Zhang, and Martin Lee wrote columns in the Next magazine, and there has been speculation that because Martin Lee allegedly didn't really like Kam Nai-wai, and he's more a fan because he used to say that he liked Sin Chung Kai as the one who should run in the Hong Kong Island. So there has been saying that Martin Lee, because he really not really Jimmy Lai ordering his staff to do this probably, but maybe some of the staff within Apple Daily might smell that it might be to the boss' pleasure to attack again more fiercely on Kam Nai-wai. So one very interesting phenomenon, Matt, here is that the Apple Daily attacks Kam Nai-wai in a sense like a media trial.
Yeah, anything associated with sex automatically is going to be bigger news. But you're right. I think a newspaper always has the choice, doesn't it, to blow up a story or to downplay it. And there's
not concrete evidence for the Apple Daily to make a verdict. How could you really portray that he's really guilty at the moment without anyone coming forward?
Yeah, it's interesting. I've talked to some of my female friends and male friends, and they've got sort of different views on it. In some ways, some of the female friends I've talked to are quite sort of on the man's side, actually. Yeah. I mean, I've got to think about it a bit more. I think. I mean, what do you think if this case happened in Canada, for example, where you've spent quite a bit of time? Say it was a lawmaker in Canada. How would it be? How big a story would it be?
I mean, in this context, after all, it's really about abuse of power.